Hello and welcome. I'm so glad to have you with us on this Tuesday morning. Actually, it might be afternoon or evening your time. I have with me Ed Hannibus, who will be presenting today, as well as Naman Maisarwala, who is our expert elite who helps us with questions in the background. So thank you both for joining me. Today, we are going to be talking about Revit Conceptual Massing. At least that's what I hope you prepared, Ed. Is that what you prepared?
That's right.
Okay, good. Awesome. All right, so before we get started, I want to give everyone a chance to get logged in and get their audio and video set up. In fact, we have people logging in very, very quickly. Our numbers are going up quickly. We had over 1,200 people register for today. So I am going to give them a minute. While we're doing that, I would like to know where you are coming in from. So go ahead and open up that question panel and let's have you type into that where you're coming in from, just so we can get to know who we have with us today. And I've got to figure out where that went for me. Okay, there it is. It was hiding in the background. Awesome. All right, so we have, ooh, I might mispronounce this. I am so sorry. Satsi from South Africa. Nice to have you with us. Brian from Denver, Colorado, David from New Jersey, Ross from Wisconsin, Sophia from British Columbia. Looks like we have Raiders from Orlando, Peter from Canada, Monica from Ohio, Joe from Raleigh, and we have quite a few, so I apologize if I don't get your name in there. But it's so great to see everyone joining us from all over the world. We truly do get a global audience in here. It looks like we have Mike from Toronto, Matthew from Quebec. Nice to have you. I might mispronounce this one too. Nilmini from Sri Lanka. Awesome. James from Maryland. Kayla from Portland. Oh, Portland, Maine. So not Portland, Oregon, Portland, Maine. Awesome. Let's see. Veronica from Texas. Brian from Ohio, or Omaha, sorry. I see the O and just automatically think Ohio. Tomas from California, nice to have you. Heather from Dallas, Texas. Joe from Ohio. We've got a lot of people from Ohio in here, it looks like today. Excellent. It's so great to have everyone here. I'm going to go ahead and start getting into the orders of business so that I can maximize the amount of time that Ed has to talk to you guys and get your questions answered. So with that, let's go ahead and talk about our safe harbor statement. We see this every month, but I want to make sure that we cover it because we don't want you making purchasing decisions based on any forward-thinking comments that we may or may not make in the session. For the most part, I expect Ed to be talking about things that are already in the software, but just in case, we want to make sure our bases are covered and just make sure that, you know, that if we say that something is coming up in the software, you know, that's just saying that, yes, we're trying to get that in there. It's not a promise that it is definitely going to end up in there. So again, don't make any purchasing decisions based on that. All right. Your lines are muted, but that does not mean you get away with just sitting back in the background and just listening. We really want this to be interactive. So please feel free to put your questions in the question panel. And when we have a break in the presentation or when it's a good spot to ask those questions, I will start asking those live for Ed to answer. Once the session is over, there's a link to the forum. I've actually put that in the chat panel as well so that it's easier for you to get to that. If you can't see that chat panel, send me a question in the question panel and I will make sure I post that in there as well, so that everyone has that link. That's where we're going to continue the conversation after the session is over. And then, of course, a link to this recorded session is being emailed to everyone who registered, and that's why our lines are muted, just so that we have a nice, clean, clear presentation or recording after the fact, so that you can come back and watch it later if you missed anything or want to recap on anything, or if you want to share it with a coworker. We'd love to have you do that as well. When we usually meet for Autodesk University, we meet live and in person. This year, Autodesk University is completely online. And so we are going to be doing things just a little bit differently. Since it's all online, we're going to have you come in and present to us. And so the last few months, we've been actually having you submit your topics to us on what you'd like to see. These are going to be 5-minute talks with a 5-minute Q&A session. And these are the topics that have been sent in. I'm going to open up the polls and let you vote on these. I did have a limit on the characters that I could put into the poll. So I wanted to make sure you have the full definition here. So first one is setting up a company Revit family. Templates, how and why you would do that. Key schedules as a code tool, making document load calculations for you, making that more automatic. And interchangeable parts and pieces, swapping out shared families for casework, signage, and other things. And then think like Revit, understanding the interconnected world of Revit elements and settings. And then finally, creating a safe working environment when returning to work. So those are the topics that came in. I'm going to go ahead and open up the polls now so that you can vote on that. And once we're done voting, I will turn the time over to Ed so that we can get to today's topic. All right, you should be able to see that in there now. Oh, yep, I see some people voting. So I'll let you take just like 60 seconds to 90 seconds to make your vote be heard. It looks like we have 13% who have voted so far. So thank you for that. And it is really dry here in Utah today, so I think I'm going to be drinking a lot of water, a lot more than usual. All right, so about 53% have voted. I'll leave those open for just a moment. And while you're doing that, I see that Batul is asking, will we receive certificates for attendance? I can create a certificate for your attendance as long as you've stayed for the majority of the session. Okay, and I am seeing that people are saying they don't see this chat window, so I'm going to go grab that link for you and put it in the Q&A panel. All right, it looks like 75% have voted at this point. I'm going to go ahead and close the polls. And I'm going to share the results of that with you. So it looks like 40% are saying you want to know how to set up your company standards, how and why. And that's a close one, 22% for key schedules. And then finally, think like Revit, so 21%. So those are the 3 topics that we'll have at AU. Again, it'll be a 5-minute presentation, a 5-minute Q&A, and I'm excited that I get to hear you guys speak because it's always fun to get your perspective on what's really happening. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and hide the poll, and I'm going to bring it back over to Ed. There we go. All right, Ed, I'm going to go ahead and make you presenter. Let me know when you can share your screen.
Okay. Oh, show screen. Okay. And I'm going to get rid of just that right there, and I'll get rid of this. There.
Okay, great. All right, so yeah, Ed is in our customer success organization. I'll let him tell you a little bit more about himself. You may have seen him in March when he presented. But Ed, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you very much. I'll say my name's Ed Hannibus. I'm one of our Autodesk implementation consultants. Just wanted to kind of briefly give you an overview of what you can do with massing. Many people use SketchUp and a lot of the other programs to do their initial conceptual designs. We'd like to show you, what I hope to show you today is some of the things that you can do inside of Revit, which will actually make the conceptual design and the working design process happen almost at the same time. So just to start out very basically, if we go up, I'm just in a plain architectural template, just out of the box, that you see I can create an in-place mass or I can place a mass. Now Revit has already predefined masses that we can bring into the software to help us design things. So if I go to place software, place mass, the first thing it's going to do is it's going to say that we're going to show the mass. That's basically all this dialog box is saying. All right, and this is something new in 2021 for all of you who haven't seen it yet. No mass families are loaded. Would you like to load one now? And we would say yes. Well, by default now, your libraries are not installed on your local computer unless you specifically initiate that in the installation of the software. So you see, I don't have my standard libraries that I've had in the past. So I'll cancel here, and I will go to Insert, and I'll load an Autodesk family. We now have an online version of all of our different categories that we would typically have that you can see for them. For mass, if I go for mass, I can see here's an arc, barrel vault, box, and I'm just going to select the box and load it. And then I will actually come in and I will place my mass. So now I can place my mass just like this. All right, then again, this is kind of very simple, but now I want to go and I want to insert and I want to load another mass. And I'm going to load this barrel vault and just load that in here. So now I'm going to place that. So I go up here to massing and site, place our mass, and there's our barrel vault. I can go just like this. Now these are using all the predefined shapes that we have in our library out of the box from Revit. So you can see all the different ones that you can actually bring in here. We even have some adaptive components in here also. So just wanted to be able to show you that's a little bit of a new feature that we have in 2021. All right, so once I have my two masses loaded, I can go to one of my elevations. I'll go to the south. I heard many people say they were from Texas. That's where I'm from, so glad to have all of you here. So one of the things I might want to do is go in here and create some additional levels. So if I go here like this, I can add in some additional levels, just like that. And then I can go in and I can add one more, just like that. So now, you see I've added some additional levels. I could then take this and do my modify and alignment and raise that up. And now it's there. Now I can take this mass and I can take it and I'm just going to place it right on top of the other. So now if we look in 3D, we have these masses. And here's the advantages of doing things within Revit. First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to join the geometry between these two items. So I'll go here, and now they appear as one. Now, the real advantage to using Revit is now I can go here to Architecture, I can go to Roof, and I can go Roof by Face. So there's what type of roof I'm going to create. You can create any type of roof, and then I would select right here, and then go Create Roof. Now I have my roof. Then I can go here to Wall, create walls, and again, these are all our basic types of walls we have here. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this by face. So I want it to go level. I want to start at level 1, and I want it to go up to level 4, just like this. Then all I have to do is rotate around the model and start selecting faces, and it automatically creates my walls. Now, here's one of the real advantages to doing it this way. If I go back here to level 1, I now have my walls and I have my mass. So the architect or the individual doing the actual design can keep playing with the mass. In other words, they could go here, I could go, and go edit family, so there's my actual box. So if I actually wanted to come back and edit the family, right? Or I can just go in through here and start making simple adjustments, just like this. And I'll show you this again here in a minute. Now, the people working on the construction documents can then go and start adapting their walls to meet the mass model. So you're able to perform two operations simultaneously. So you could do this, you could have the mass as a linked model. You could also just include it here in your standard Revit model. Now these are things just out of the box, okay, that I can do here, to make things adjust here. So just want to be able to show you real simply, this is how to create just some basic simple geometry and create it into 3D masses within Revit. One of the last things that I can do here, if I go to tab and there's my chain of walls, there's my mass. I just tab through and I can come up and create mass floors. Then I can select what level I want to put floors on. So I put it on 1 through 3, and now it automatically has divided that up and put in my mass floor for me here. Again, this has helped you to do some of your early design work and computational stuff that you want to do with your model. So I'm going to take this real quick and just delete it. And now let's go back and let's create something custom. So now what I can do is I can go to massing. I can go to in-place mass. This allows us, we give it a name, so you'd want to give it a name here. And then what this allows us to do is just sketch an outline of what we want to see. So I can go up here, I can draw lines, rectangles, circles, whatever I would like. I want to draw just lines. Could go like this. And we'll draw something a little bit different from what we had before. And then all I have to do is go up here to create form, create a solid form. All right. Oh, I forgot. Okay, I didn't get them there. There we go. Create form, a solid form. All right. Now I can finish my mass. All right, let's go look at our 3D view. And there's our mass right there that we created by drawing lines. The same concept works here that works with the generic models that we placed in. In other words, I can go in here now and go to architecture. I can go to wall architecture. I want to pick faces. Then if I want, I can go over here, change this, and then I can just go around and start selecting faces just like this, and Revit will automatically, add in my walls. Got the wrong. Keep missing that there. There we go. So now this has allowed me to create on my walls. And what I can do, and again, next is I can come here and tab till I get the mass. Let's see if I can get it all here. There we go. Okay. I'm sorry. And escape there. There we go. Now I've got now. So now I can go through and I can tab. And what I can do is I can find the mass and then go up to mass floors. And then again, I can select those 3 levels going like this. All right. Then again, I would just go roof by face. Then I'll come up here and attach and go create my roof. Now we can create all sorts of complex shapes. We can, create virtually any shape that we want to. If you want to come back in after the fact, say we needed to go in and add some voids to this, say for an elevator shaft or for a flight of stairs. Then what we could do, we could go edit in place. Then I can come over here and I'm just going to draw a couple of quick rectangles. So I go here like this. So there could be my elevator shaft. Here could be my stair. Here can be my stairs, just like this. All right, now I can come back in now, go to my 3D view, and what I'll do is I'm going to hide some of these elements here so we can get in there and see exactly what's going on. Oops. No, I need to get the wall here. Oh, there we go. Now what I'm going to do is, let's go back here to level 1. I'll do it from there. All right. So now I have all my my masses created here on level 1. You'll notice if I go up here to finish mass, all right, now I have these two different, let's go to 3D, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to VG real quick, and I'm going to hide my walls just to make it a little bit easier. There we go, just like that. All right, now I go in through here, I can hide this, and as I go through, there are, okay, so I can edit in place. Then I can take this and I can go create form, avoid form. Then I have the ability to make it bigger. You know, I've got grips to move it along this way. Then I can come over here, create form, another void form, and I have it inside there, and I can finish my mass. All right, so that's how you can add voids throughout all this. I'm going to change this to consistent color just so you can see a little bit better. Now when I come in through here and grab my mass, go in here again, there we go. I can create the floors, again, just like that. I can also come in, and if I take this and I want to edit in place, I can go back in again and make changes to any of these. So you see, I can pull that wall out and make it. I can go in, I can add a profile, I can add an edge. So in other words, if I go here to add an edge, I can then come like this, click right in there. That adds an edge to our mass. There we go. Now I can click on it. Okay, edit profile. I can now click on it. There we go. And there's our overall profile again that we can modify. I also have this now where I can modify it. I have this, so I can modify it like that. I can subtract that. So I can make it different. So if I wanted to change that into something else, then all I would have to do is I would come here to line, and I would just finish with that new edge that I added there. And I would just come up here and finish. Now I've got these points pulled out here. I can go finish mass now. Now let's go back one more time and let's edit in place here. So now I can click on this mass. There we go. All right, so I have my mass that I have located here. I can go in, oops, here, there we go. So I can also go in and add a profile. So what I can do with this is I'm just going to turn around this way so I can see this a little bit better. I can draw any shape again. So I'll go here. Excuse me for just a second. I have a dog and it just draw laundry pile. A lot of people just showed up. All right, so now I have my profile just like this, and I can go create form, avoid form. Then how do I want to create it? Do I want to create a circle, or do I want to create an oval just like this? Now I've created additional voids within here to go in and add to this overall profile, this overall mass. So you see, I can do quite a bit of custom work inside of here in order to make all this work. Now, I can come back here and edit in place. I pick another side over here. Okay. Again, you can see I can divide up the surface. I can also dissolve this. So what that does is that takes away everything that we've done in the past. And now all we have, and you'll see, we have no more solid geometry. It has actually dissolved our mass, okay, but it's allowed us to go through and keep our profiles just like this. All right, I'll just go over here. All right, well, that pretty much ends my presentation. I wanted to see if anybody had any questions that we might answer.
Absolutely. There's been some really great questions. One was, can you lock the mass, or can you lock to the mass and so that it will be parametric? That comes from Rich.
Okay, very good question. All right, so I wanted to show you that that's a very good question. So let's go through here and let me find my mass, just like this. So I'm going to take this and drag it out like that. You notice my wall did not go with it. So now I'm going to use my alignment tool, select that line, and then select that wall, and I'm going to lock it to it, just like this. All right, now when I come back in here and find my mass once again, maybe, there we go. So now I've got that locked. Now let's move the edge of that mass wall. And you'll notice here that it won't let me do it. Okay, it will allow me to go through and change the mass, but once I lock it, it won't let that follow with it automatically. I just wanted to show that real quick. Good question.
Yeah, that is a great question. And a similar question came in, can you do that? Can you modify the mass and make the roof change? But it sounds to me like that's no.
Well, if we do this, okay, so let me undo that part. All right, there we go. So if I go back here to my 3D view, one of the things that is nice is I can, let me unhide everything. There we go. So there's my roof, just like this. I can go and I can do just like we would do inside of modeling a normal wall, is I can, oh, I turned all walls off. Let me go back and turn them on real quick. Sorry about that. There we go. Okay. I can do the same thing that I would do with a typical Revit wall. In other words, I can select the wall here, and you'll notice I can attach or detach the base. Okay. So if I had, using my barrel vault example, I could make this wall go up and join up with the roof. So when the roof moves, then all the walls are going to move up and down with it. So just like you would do a normal wall within Revit architecture.
Great. Another question that came in, this one is from Simon. Do you know how to delete the void once it disappears from the screen? Most often it took me a while to find the invisible void. See if you have an easier way to make invisible void show object.
Okay. So you saw that, I think, when I first did this, that when I was on level 1, before I created these voids, I couldn't see them. You know, and that was the reason when I first created them. Let me go here and do this again, just so you can see. There we go. So I'm going to edit in place, and you'll notice that one disappeared. I can't find it anymore. So what I'd do is I would finish my mass, and then you'll notice here, if I go to edit in place again, it disappears. So what I had to do, that's the reason I went to my 3D view and turned a lot of things off so that I could actually get in there and get back. I don't know if I can find it or not. There we go. So now I can see my mass like this, and I can start making adjustments to it. But I need to go in and hide my walls, you know, hide some things so I can actually see inside. But it's really easier to see it in your 3D view. And you'd run into the same problem if you ran to one of your elevations. You need to hide the walls so you could actually see those void masses as they disappear.
Caesar is asking, can we see a bit on how to do solar shading or solar studies? Is that something you can do with massing?
Yes. Okay, so what I can do is, let me turn my shadows on. And then I want to turn my sun path on. I'm going to use project date and time, okay, just so I can make sure. And there is our solar study, our sun path right here. So I can go over to sun settings. Now what I can do is I can go and say, here's the sun from this. Okay. I can also do just lighting. I can do a single day, just like this. So I can say I want it to go from 10:30, 8:25. I want it to go, or I could go sunrise to sunset, just like this. Time interval is 1 hour. Okay, and there's my ground plane level, and I'll go save settings, and there's what I've named it there. Then I can just say, okay, now you will see there's our path of our sun for this day. And if you click on any one of these, you can kind of see what time, what is happening at each time as you go along. Okay, oops, there we go. On what it's actually, on what the sun is actually doing. So we can do solar studies with the mass. You can also, we could go up here to analyze, and just don't have, I have to run it off, but I can go and create an energy model just from the analytical model, and then submit it and have it do a system analysis just based on the 3D massing. Okay, so I can create it, and then what it actually does, it sends it off to the cloud to be analyzed. We use Energy Plus to do all our analysis, just like all the third-party applications. So now within Revit, like I say, when you do your energy analysis, it automatically sends it out to Energy Plus to have the analysis done. And again, you can adjust settings. That's a whole nother class on doing that in the solar studies. But yes, we can do all that with just the mass itself. That's a long answer for your question. Sorry about that.
Not to worry. All right, I'm going to try to open up the lines for a couple of the live questions. So Meredith Witt, I have unmuted your line. Would you like to ask your question live? It looks like you are self-muted, so you'll have to click the mute yourself. Meredith, do you have a microphone? Are you able to speak with us? Oh, looks like not. Okay, let's go to the next one then. Don, oh boy, I'm gonna kill your last name. I'm so sorry. Adukobi. Don, can you hear me? Can you talk with us? No. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Oh, now I can hear you. Yes, yes. Will you pronounce your last name for me? I'm so sorry.
It's actually Obi.
Okay.
It's pronounced without the G. I actually hit earlier because I could not hear you, but I was able to successfully latch on and hear to you guys. So I don't have an actual question.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks, Don.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go ahead and go to Ryan Littman. Ryan, can you talk to us and ask your question live?
Sure. I was hoping that you could speak to some of the best practices of massing when it comes to larger buildings. The example we saw looked more to be single family home scale, but where I think this becomes most useful in architectural studies are for some of the larger buildings that some folks may be designing to. So yeah, could you speak to best practices with grouping for masses?
The best pass for grouping them. All right. So if you're doing a complex building, there are several approaches you can take. Excuse me, one second.
We're getting a lot of feedback.
Sorry, that was just my yard guy with the blower. So that whenever you're doing extremely complex buildings, a lot of what people use is they'll make a mass family. So in other words, I'll come up here and I'll go to new and I'll create a new family. And what I want to do is I want to go here just to my mass family. Just, sorry, gotta go back up here. Yeah, conceptual mass. Okay, so I have just a mass. They will use a conceptual mass family to go in and modify things. Again, this is more of an adaptive component, so that you can create all sorts of spirals. You can create all sorts of different things. It's just very difficult to cover it in the time frame that we have. But this is what most people do. The reason they will do it. Let's see if I can do something just real quick, just so I can show you. So just create a rectangle, something like that. Then what they will do is they'll go create form. I'll create me a solid form just like this. Then what this allows you to do is put parameters on things. So you can adjust length, width, offsets, things of this nature, and do this as a separate operation to help keep your mass intact, but also make it easier to change. So in other words, if if I wanted to change the height of this, I can go in and actually put in a dimension so I can adjust the height automatically and use this as my family to help generate some of the more complex buildings, especially taller buildings like you're talking about, where you may have multiple different, you may, go from a large rectangle to a smaller rectangle to a smaller one, and you would just build it up through here using this adaptive component for a mass. And you can also create very complex, sorry about that. I've lost my mind here. You can create very complex curtain walls. You can do a lot more as far as things that you want to add in here once you get it set up. So this is probably the best way in a lot of cases if you're dealing with very complex buildings, is to go ahead and make it as a mass family. Does that kind of answer your question, or?
Yeah, it certainly shows one way to start tackling the problem. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks, Ryan. All right, I have a question. Let's see, where did it go? There was a question about the cost of doing massing. Does it cost credits or something? How many credits does it cost? Oh, it was actually on the solar study.
On the solar study is organic, just within Revit itself, so it's not going to be any cost. It's only if you go up here to the solar analysis, okay, that you're actually sending this to the cloud. And I am sorry, I don't know the cost of it. They don't tell me things like that.
No problem. I don't know the costs either. That's crazy, right?
But I know it's minimal for each of these. That I know for doing energy analysis, it's like 5 credits or 5 tokens, something like that, when it's actually sent to the cloud. I think that's what they charge. I may be totally wrong on that, but I think that's what it is.
Okay, great. And I'm not sure if this is Jorge or George de la Cova. I'm going to go ahead and unmute your line. Do you still have a question, George? It looks like you're self-muted.
No, I do not.
Okay. All right. Great. All right. Let's go to Steve Alvarado. Whoops. It looks like my things are moving on me. Let's try this. Can Revit be used for conceptual massing of interior spaces such as kitchens?
In order to do, and you're talking about just like placing generic masses for cabinets and countertops and things like that? Oh, definitely. And that's where a lot of this, where you're doing your massing in here, it's just doing the placing of the mass. So in other words, I could go here, there's my box, just like this. And then whenever I go here, I can use that to start developing, if I go edit family, okay, then I can go in and actually start making parts and pieces. So I could adjust the dimensions on this, make this into cabinets. I could do a round one, or to make tables. I could create all the masses and then assign materials to them, so that, you know, they appear a different way. You know, if you want cabinets to be a certain color or something like that, something to give the general conceptual part of it. Once you have added some of your walls, then you can actually come in and start putting in doors and things like this. But I could very easily just model everything within here as a mass, as different masses to place along the walls.
All right, great. And Jennifer Davidson has a similar question. How about landscaping? Can you use massing to do landscape?
Oh, that's fun. Well, prior to 2021, we actually had Site Designer, which has been taken out. One of the things I've done in the past for landscape architects is I designed pools, and I also did miniature golf courses. What we would actually do with those is we would, like for the pool, we would add, instead where I did this part where I added the profile like this, I would make a mass to represent the ground, and you know, assign, you know, ground material, grass, something to that, and then I could add profiles to the actual face of that mass, so that I could go and start doing the shape of the pool, something like that. Everything else would be, again, would just be a generic mass that I would be placing around, you know, just like I was showing with this box. You know, I could take and start using it to help you develop some of your landscape. But that's the most I've personally done landscaping. Like I said, I did it, so we created a pool where we just created the mass surface, and then we created a profile so that it would go in and actually cut out the actual design of the pool.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to use it. I'm going to throw my little tidbit in here. Jennifer, I would recommend using InfraWorks for some of the landscaping. The great thing about InfraWorks is you can pull a bunch of different models together. So if you have the civil engineer's you know, rough plan of what it's going to be graded at, you can pull that in. You can pull in the architect's building, pull that all together, and then start adding plants and different things for your landscape design, if that's what you're looking for. It's a really great tool to come up with that design quickly in a conceptual way that can you know, be visually pleasing as well, so that you can see it.
Yes, yeah, that's probably one of the best tools for the landscape architecture.
Absolutely. Okay, I am going to try to pronounce this name. Bharat Patel. I've unmuted your line. Do you still have a question? Oh, looks like no. Okay. All right, let's go to James. James asked the question, do conceptual masses print? He's saying he had an issue with this.
Oh, it will probably have to do with your individual printer. But if I go here to print, and I'll just do, you know, print here like this, okay? You might not see masses, even though show mass, okay? It's selected in the visibility settings for each view. So that's the real key whenever you go to set this up for printing, just so that you can go through and make sure that you have everything set up. Once yeah, okay. Is that you have to make sure in VG that you have masses turned on. And then it may just depend on whether you do some half toning, with what kind of changes you make to it. But typically, if you go through and assign a material to it, it will almost always plot the way you're thinking it will.
Excellent. Okay. Maria asked the question, if the slanted wall was a curtain wall, could you go over adding some structural elements like beam system braces?
Oh, so in other words, if I'm going to go here to architecture, and I'll go wall, and I'll go wall by face, and I'll go down through here, and oh, I'll just do exterior glazing. So now I can pick here just like that, and that will automatically create that storefront again, just like you would on any other case. Now you have a curtain wall and you go through. Now, what I've done in the past in curtain walls is I can go ahead and I can start adding in my beams and braces across these. A lot of it depends on what you're trying to accomplish, what your level of detail is. What I've done previously is whenever I cut a section through a curtain wall, I actually built the detail inside the curtain wall. So when I cut it, I could actually see all the bracing, all the, how all the mullions are shaped, everything like this. And I built it directly into the curtain wall itself so that I could add that detail in and embed it inside of the curtain wall. So that's one approach I've taken to adding a lot of the, the additional structures and beams. But otherwise, this would be just like if you leave it as is and actually do your structural design, it's going to be just like using any other curtain wall because you've got a regular wall to use here.
Excellent. All right, and Summer Jensen is asking the question, can you show us how to create a conceptual massing using nodes?
If I had time, yes. That's what I was talking about. Is if we go here, I'm gonna go back to my conceptual maps, and I'll open that up. No, open that up here. Those are known as adaptive components, and you're coming through and you're creating points like this in order to create the shape. Okay, then like I said, I'm doing this very quickly, but now I can create my form, my solid form. I forgot to add my lines in through here. Then I would go through, and you will notice you can actually build upon this. So you have your different points. I can go in through here like this. Once I have this created, I can then come in and select that. I go create form, a solid form, and it'll create that solid like that. Then I can also go in, I can add in more adaptive points like this. So I could come in and then grab this. And if I move up, I have to go, I can move it around. Then what I would have to do is create lines to join up each one of those points. Oops, sorry, I didn't get it. Oh, model. There we go. And then I would create these and allow me to go through. Oh, I lost by. I forgot. I got to do it. There we go. Okay. So then I would go here like this and create each one of these to the corners. And then I would create from there to the corner. You can do all sorts of elaborate shapes using these adaptive components. And then I can go and select here. And oops, if I can get it here. And then what I would do is I would create this again. I'm trying to remember all this off the top of my head, solid form. Oh, I know, because I've already got it there. But I can select all of these and move them up and then start attaching things three-dimensionally instead of just, I can go just like this, go just like this. And again, I'm doing this off the top of my head, so bear with me here. But anyway, I can create points that I will then create objects, and you can create very, very complex objects. I can take this face, there we go, just like this. So now I can pull it out just like this. So like I said, this is a very complex thing. If you would like, there's a lot of good videos on YouTube from Zach Cron, K-R-O-N. He is one of our leading people within Autodesk that does a lot with adaptive components. And you will see by watching his videos, you can see all the crazy stuff he creates. Like I said, this is a whole hour probably in itself to do this.
Awesome. Thank you for that. I'm going to send that to everyone so that you have that. This is Zach Cron. Okay, perfect. Donna is asking, oh, that moved. Can you address dividing a mass on a curved surface and how to get it smooth?
On a mass, on a curved surface, and how to get it smooth. Let's see what I can do here. That, oh, come on, there we go. And let's edit it in place. Okay, we'll go first floor plan there. So here's my mass right here. Yeah, okay. So what I want to do is let's see if I can get this tab. There we go. So I'm going to take that and delete it. All right, now I'm going to go here and go. I'll just use a model line, just like this. Here, let me start this from scratch because this is not going to. I don't think this is going to. Trying to do all this. Yeah, I'm trying to do too much all at one time. So you try to do in place. There we go. All right. So I go and I'll draw me some lines just real quick, just like this. Okay. Then I'll go and I'll draw me an arc. I'll start here and go there and just like that. So what you're talking about, if I understand correctly, is now when I go here, I want to create form, a solid form, and I'll go finish mass. Okay, so you're saying you're having trouble with that being smooth whenever you go to print it? Is that when you're having the problems, or just looking at it on the screen?
Let me see if I can find Donna, and I'll see if we can open up her line. There's so many people in here, it's hard to find one. Donna Madsen, are you able to speak with us? Your line is open. Donna, do you have a microphone? Oh, it sounds like she might not have a microphone.
I'd have to be more specific about, because I don't know of a problem with it not appearing smooth. That I mean, even if I go and create a curtain wall like this, and I want to pick faces, I mean, I can go like that, and it will create, and it's segmented based on the curtain wall itself. And then you could go through and adjust all your grid lines just so that it, you know, and that may be part of it, just the way it's segmenting it up like for a curtain wall. If it's a normal wall, let's see if I can get, now if I just go here to a normal wall, it doesn't really matter, and pick that, then it's definitely going to be smooth all the way around.
Okay, so yeah, she did add a little bit of clarification in there. She said that no, she's dividing it to be faceted. So it sounds like it would be a curtain wall, and you're saying that's part of the family structure?
Yes, it's just it's gonna segment it based on the size of the panels.
Okay, so it's all in setting up that family in the first place.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect, excellent. She says thank you. Okay, and so let's go up a little bit. Where did we?
Hey, Michelle.
Yes.
This is Noman. Hey, just FYI, a lot of people were asking about tutorials, and I know Ed mentioned the YouTube video, but also if you really want workflow-based type tutorials or ideas, Autodesk University is the best place to go, because if you go and search, and I posted a link in there, you will find a lot of wealth of information from experts in the field. I know Brian Mecke, who's on the line as well, he presented some as well. So just you know, checking out Autodesk University is always a good place to go for like workflow-based answers or extremely complex stuff that you needed to answer.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always a great place anyway, right?
Right. Yeah, so you can go and you can add, oops, where's mine died here? But no, you can go and there's modeling complex shapes and Revit structure. There's modeling, there's all sorts of different classes available to you. And I don't know why mine did this, but you can see there's where we're talking about using architectural models for analysis. That's doing energy analysis. There's a lot of good classes at AU on how to do a lot of these things. But why mine went that way, I'll never know.
Well, and the exciting thing about Autodesk University this year, since it is 100% online, it is free. So if you have always wanted to go and didn't have the budget or something like that, definitely register this year, because there's going to still be a lot of knowledge to gain, a lot of great presenters presenting that content, and a great way for you to learn. Excellent. All right, the next question, okay, we've answered that one. Let me mark that as such so that I don't keep coming back to it. Can I create a schedule to know the square footage of each floor using the masses?
We go here and let's go to schedules, and let's go to schedules and quantities. And let's pick, just so I can make sure I understand here. Now I want to go to mass. I'll go, okay. So there's our gross floor area right there. Okay, there's our gross volume. So it's going to give you for the whole, for the whole mass, not just individually by levels.
Excellent. Can you talk about materials, masses, and rendering? This is coming from Raymond.
Okay. One of the things that you do is I can find my mass here. Oh, there it was. All right. So there's my mass. I can go up and I can go up. Well, no, I didn't get it. Sorry about that. Let's try this again. There. It's telling me I'm getting my mass, but it's not. Oh, let me go over here. This will be simpler. Okay. So I can go in through here. These are all our instance properties. I can go here to edit type. Okay, and you'll notice that again, we don't have materials assigned here. That's the other advantage to going to edit the family. If you use the families for this, then I can go through and I can add materials to the object. All right, so now I can go and I can pick in, we have our library that we have over here, just almost anything that you'd want to pick as far as being able to how you want things to appear. Okay, so again, you do this as, brick, siding, whatever you want to here. Then whenever you go through, what I like to do in a lot of cases is I'll go here for graphics and I'll say use render appearance. Okay, just so that I'm going to see that even when I'm not in my render mode. Okay, and again, you can adjust all of these on how, your colors, how you want to adjust them there. You can put in different images. You can put in hatch patterns. You can put in information about the material, about what it really is. So this is the advantage of using the families, is out of the box, they already have materials assigned, material parameters assigned to them. Whereas in the other case where we're doing the modeling, we would have to add either a shared parameter or a project parameter.
Excellent. All right, it looks like we are right at the top of the hour. I'm just going to bring up one quick thing. Both Brian and Kevin had suggested that you showed the update to face and how that works. And he says that might answer some of the questions about walls and roofing updated as the mass changes.
Okay, so in other words, I'm not sure I understand the question. Let's go see here.
So I think it was more of a comment, using the update to face, show
Right.
that how that works when you have a mass that's changed so that the walls will update. Oh,
so we go here, okay, and I'll go update to face. Okay, so now it will go through and automatically. Good question. Sorry, I forgot to show this. I go here, and then I want to go walls. I'll say okay, and then I want it to come out. Oh, it didn't do it. Why didn't you do it? Update the face. Okay, so I want that walls. Okay, so I want that to go there. And then it should move out here when I select this mask. And for whatever reason, now I don't know why I didn't show this. Let me see if I can get it to work here. Update the face. Okay, so I want, all I want to do, then I want to go in through here like this. And then I should be able to pick this face like this. And there I am. Let me get it back. Oh, there. And for whatever reason, it's not working. Sorry about that. I'll have to connect with everybody on that. Like I said, I don't know why it's not working.
Maybe that's something that we add to our connected learning experience on the Customer Success Hub, is how to work with that.
There we go. That sounds good.
Well, thank you so much, Ed, for your presentation today. Thank you, everyone, for your wonderful questions. Naman Marsawala, I really want to thank you for helping answer the questions in the background. Those questions that were left unanswered, since we're at the top of the hour, we'll be putting those in the forum. I have given you a link to that forum in the chat panel, as well as the Q&A panel that I shared with everyone. But I'll make sure that that's in the email that you get with the recording as well. So thank you, everyone, for joining. I'm excited to see you next month at our next architectural community meetup.
Everybody have a great day.